All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Martin. Welcome to Keto with Me. Welcome to the first ever Living the Keto Life live stream. Wow, that's a lot to say. Real quick before we get into the stuff we got to get into today, I want to set the ambiance a little bit by turning on a little bit of background music. So whenever there's moments I'm not talking, that'll give you something to listen to. Otherwise, it'll just be really weird, awkward silence. So, all right. First of all, let me just take a quick peek at the comments to see if anybody's joined in, started leaving some comments here. All right. Let me pop back over here. All right. As I said, welcome to the live stream tonight. I'm going to, first discuss a little bit of an agenda. That way we have, like a guideline or a roadmap of, where we want to go, and so forth. So I'm going to start out tonight by doing a quick update. I know a lot on the Watch series. They really liked each week how I kept them up to date and kind of, what I'm doing and so forth. And then for a short period after my weight loss journey, I did some videos that did, kind of the same thing, and then it fell off for a little bit. And we can talk about why that happened here shortly. Then we're going to roll into, open topic time. And that just means that there was no formal topic that I picked for talking about tonight. Sometimes we'll, what I'm actually looking for here is one of you all to, suggest something, and, I can do the best I can to answer it, or, maybe perhaps other subscribers could do that as well, or guests that have just decided to join us. So, all right, and then we can do Q&A throughout, although probably wait until after I'm at the end of my update before you ask questions maybe about me or something. Real quick, I want to go over just a few little guidelines for the live stream, just kind of, keep things respectful and stuff. If you've watched any of the videos on my channel, I say this tagline at the end of every single video that I put out. I always say, be a coach and not a critic. And really what I'm saying here is that, we're all out here just trying to help each other and get better at doing keto, carnivore, ketovore, wherever you're at on the, keto spectrum and so forth. So again, be a coach, not a critic, and let's have fun. I also am going to shoot for about an hour. I think, our time outside of, this little thing right here is more valuable, with our families and stuff. Plus, when someone wants to watch a replay, they don't want to watch a 2-hour replay. So let's, I'm going to time box it, but guess who violates it probably more than anybody? It'll probably be me, because as you can tell, I like to blah, 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 talk a lot. So if it gets close to that hour mark, don't hesitate to be like, Chris, let's stop. We got things to do. And what about questions? So, as I mentioned, there's Q&A. Absolutely. That's the whole point of doing all this, so we can all, answer each other's questions and so forth. We're going to share our knowledge. We're going to get better at doing this stuff. And lastly, on the topic of guidelines, what if my question wasn't answered? Well, the comments will start lighting up, and then what'll happen is I won't be able to see every one of them. I might skip yours, maybe ask it once or twice. But if for some reason I don't get to it, don't hesitate, to go down to the comment section of the video when this is, releases. It's live streaming now, so it should be there now, and put a comment there as well. And then if that doesn't work, pop me off an email. You can get to my email through YouTube's About section. So if you go to the channel About, it says business inquiries, but that's where my email is at. I could just put it on here, but I really want to make sure people actually go and look there so they can do it. I don't get anything for it, but it does verify you're not a robot. Not a robot. Okay. Moving on to, well, hold on, let me check the comments. Any comments yet? Anybody out there? Anybody watching this? All right, let me double check some things here real quick. Just want to make sure we're on point. All right, let me get to the update on me. So, um, am I still keto? So, if you watched any of my videos, you would know that I'm a huge numbers guy. Oh, hold on, I gotta switch the banners here. I gotta run all this little stuff by myself. Oh, looks like comments are coming in now. So, hey, it looks like Jamie stopped by. I see Corbin stopped by. Thank you guys. All right, back to the update because it's all about me. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm a huge numbers guy. I track every single day my blood. I pull my, I do my blood glucose and my ketones. My average for the last 7 days, 85 on the blood glucose, 1.5 on the ketones, 85 Dr. Boz ratio. And this morning, my blood glucose was 82. My ketones were 2.9, which is absolutely the highest ketones I've had since I stopped my weight loss journey, about 12 or 13 weeks ago. And actually, I'll go ahead and tell you why now. The reason is because yesterday I did a double workout. So I started exercise, which we'll get to here very shortly. And I did two like back-to-back pretty intense cardio workouts. One of them was a P90X3 and the other one was just, I had some time. Well, I'll be honest, I don't like Pilates, even if it's the P90X version. I don't like the, breathing part of it. So I always just do like, tread climber instead. So I did two of those and then I worked outside all day long. So you don't have to just fast to get your ketones and get into autophagy and stuff like that. I mean, I really put my body through the ringer. So if you look, you'll see that my low number was 0.6. So you can still, do really well when you have lower ketone numbers. All right, moving on. Let's get to a number a lot of folks would probably like to know. What's your weight, Chris? So my weight right now today was 168.6. I ended my journey around 160 point something about 12, 13 weeks ago. And then, over the last 10 or 12 weeks, actually 12, 13 weeks, exercise, increasing numbers and so forth, my weight's come up a little bit. Some of that's muscle. I mean, you'll see I've kind of put on some muscle, but perhaps maybe there is some fat, but I feel very, very, very strong. But we're going to look here in a minute and see if there's any reason to be concerned, and maybe I'll just do some minor adjustments. You'll see. Let's see. I want to go back to the weight for a second. Numbers, weight. Sorry, running this show myself. You'll see that I actually hit 170. I about died that day when I stepped on the scale and it said 170 because, you work really hard to break through the tens, right? Like you go down to 200 and then 190, then 180, then 170. And then when you creep back up across one, you're like, ah. So first of all, I didn't actually freak out, but I did was like, so I do want to be very mindful of that. All right, switching over to perhaps one reason why my weight has gone up some, right? If you look at that fat, carb, protein, and grams on average for 7 days, 270 is a lot of grams of fat. Notice I'm not talking about calories here, folks. I don't count calories. Average about 27 carbs and 154 protein. Very good, solid keto macros here at 77, 5, and 18. However, like I said, a little bit of weight has come on. So do I need to be concerned? I will probably make some adjustments at the end of this, but I'm not like falling over, freaking out or anything like that. The good news is I've never left ketosis. I wouldn't die if I did, but I would be like, whoa. Sorry, let's get back to this. What do I typically eat? What does my food look like? I typically follow a clean style keto. That just means that I'm trying to eat whole foods. I do eat a lot of meat. I do have veggies. And I use nuts and pepperoni to kind of augment my food to get those higher fat levels. And give you an example for today, I made salmon patties. Sorry, if you watched one of my videos, you would know that that's an inside joke. But I ate salmon patties today. along with, pan-fried, Brussels sprouts, and, they're cooked in butter, and it's just absolutely, delicious. And then, to get the fats where I needed them, I added a little bit of pepperoni and I added some pecans, not to the food itself, but, just as a little snacky afterwards. So moving on here, do I fast? Because that comes up a lot. I still fast. Most of my fasts are, I do some OMAD, 1 or 2, maybe 3 a week, and then a lot of 18/6s or 16/8s, depending on like whenever I wake up and get hungry. And we'll talk about why I get hungry here in a second. So that has a lot to do with exercise. So let me get into, my entire weight loss journey was, I did like 0 exercise. I mean, the whole time I talked about like, oh, I can't wait till I get to the end so I can exercise. Well, about 2 weeks after I finished my weight loss journey, I was like, okay, I'm ready to exercise. And I absolutely love P90X3. I hate P90X regular because that is a very, very long workout to commit to. The X3 version is the 30-minute version. And as Tony Horton says through the whole video, anybody can do 30 minutes, right? So for me, it's like, it's the sweet spot. I do the classic version, and I'm currently in block 3. So they break them up into like block 1, 2, and 3. Each one's 3 weeks each, with a week in between where you do lighter workouts. You still work out, but you just do lighter versions of them. So, but I'm in week 10 of 13, and this is my 4th time doing the P90X3 workout. So I did 3 of them back in 2020, and now this is, my actual, 4th time doing it. So I'm really excited to be doing that. But the reason I brought up that with regards to, my being hungry and eating more, when I started doing it, I obviously felt like, wow, I really need to fuel my body. So I started, obviously increasing carbs, increasing fat, trying to maintain those macros. And I may have went over a little bit, so I got to perhaps, tone that back a little bit. Just scanning and see if any comments yet. No comments yet. Let me get into the next topic here. Chris, are you still tracking? I am 1,000% still tracking. I do, chronometer on the phone. I do my little journal that, some folks have seen me hold up in my other, videos. I actually had these custom made because, I like to have my very specific things. This is like my scratch pad. So throughout the day, it's like, if I eat at 12, I mark when I start. I put down, if I had like pepperoni or whatever, and then I also weigh it and put it in there. And then later, I'll transfer it into here, and then I'll use a spreadsheet for long-term analysis. And that got me to thinking that maybe I haven't looked at, why I was, starting to go up a little bit. So, I pulled up the numbers actually today and analyzed, like, you could see like I was around 210 grams of fat, about 10, 12 weeks ago. And it just slowly increased, all of them, fat, carbs, protein. And now, like I said, you have an average of 270. So that's a pretty big number. So that means for me, I'm probably going to make some adjustments. So what are those adjustments? What's that going to, entail? It's probably going to mean like, hey, maybe you don't need as much, Chris. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to curtail, maybe do an extra 1 or 2 OMADs a week and tighter 18/6s. And 18/6, I just, I think Dr. Berry or someone was talking about when you do carnivore or something, you do like a 6-hour window. I like the 6-hour window better than doing the 8-hour window. So instead of doing a 16/8, it's just too much opportunity. So we will see. If that, maybe brings me down a little bit. I have no problem being 165, 168. I feel great. Everything feels good. It's more important how I feel and how my body's, performing, and how the exercise is going. That to me, tells me that I'm doing really, really, really good. It's just that psychologically, when that number crosses that 170, you get a little like, whoa, is it going to keep going up? So I'm cautious of it. I'm not freaking out. So is there anything else, about me before we get to a topic here? So life events, there's been a lot going on these last couple of months. I'm going to, basically say that I've had an insanely busy September and October. I mean, I have a high school senior doing marching band. We were doing like games and parade. We had a parade today, and just lots and lots of stuff. And then work and the trick or treat. I mean, just there was a ton of stuff going on, that did cause me some I would say a little bit of angst. But the good news is that I powered through it, and we could even talk about that. Another thing I wanted to bring up is that it is No Shave November. So you'll see that the beard is starting to come back. My series with a beard, then partway through I shaved it off. So you would have seen like, hey, whoa, who's that guy? Well, I was going to try to be funny one time and make one of my thumbnails say, keto makes your beard fall off. That way someone, would be like, clickbait. Oh, no, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with that. It got to be summertime and I shaved it off. Interesting fact about me that you probably don't know, maybe don't care, is that I didn't even ever have a beard until I was 50. I should just probably turn in my man card right now, because I've never, ever. Now, I did have a goatee at one time, remember, the late 90s. And then, I did a beard, I think, for like 2 weeks for one Halloween costume when I was like 42. And that's it. And now it's like a wintertime thing. So No Shave November. And plus Jamie, who's one of the guys from the channel that, a friend of mine that, I mentor him. He's in my tribe and stuff. He's got a beard right now. I wonder if you still got it. Jamie, you should comment and tell me if you still have your beard. I saw it in your update this week, but just let me know if you still have your beard. Are we going to be beard buddies, beard brothers, beard somethings? So, all right. Any questions about me before I move into the open topic area? This is an opportunity to just say, hey, I always wondered this about you, Chris. And all right, if it's too personal, I probably won't answer it, but I might, depending on how far you go. I'll give you some tidbits. I have an identical twin brother. I used to be the before picture. Sorry, that means he's been thin for a very long time. So I know, ha ha ha. I'm sure it'll come up over time. You folks will have probably some questions. Let me bounce out here. I say bounce out here. It's just like I've got, like I said, an agenda to follow, and we're going to move into an open topic, time slot here. And this is an opportunity for anyone on the live stream or channel to ask something that they may not know. And don't worry, I have backup topics. I really do. So I'm just given an opportunity here just in case somebody wanted to say, hey, can you tell me why this is this or why that? This is it. Hey, Cindy, thanks for stopping by. So, all right, good to see you. We got Cindy, Jamie, and Corbin. I'm sure there's other folks on here, but I just wanted to, again, we have an open topic. I'll give you guys just a minute or so here, before I pick a topic and we just talk about it. So I'll probably be a little selfish and talk about myself and maybe the struggles that I had for about 7 or 8 weeks, and what I did, to get over that. So, all right, we'll give the awkward silence another 5, 4, Oh, Jamie trimmed his beard a little bit. Sorry, I have to look at the comments here. So I'll just put it up here, and then I should put these comments up. You know, it shows people on the channels. Ooh, I like it. I'm kind of glad you steered it that way, Cindy, because it was a pretty difficult time. So let me get a banner up here, because what I'd like to do is like take some of these videos and cut pieces out of them, make smaller videos out of them that are more palatable, but also could be easily searched and found and things like that. So I'm gonna call it the struggle bus. So no other way to say it. But so what happened is, if you watch my diary series, I went through this big transformation over 28 weeks. I lost 74 pounds. I was very deliberate in how I did like everything. I mean, I worked really hard to prep in order to do that series. And it wasn't about making the YouTube series. The YouTube series was more about keeping me accountable. So I would get up at like 3:20 in the morning. I would record, edit, publish, and then document all day long. And that's where you saw the pictures of the food, and you see the granularity of it. And I did that for like 36 days straight. And then I switched it to 3 times a week. And then, at some point I brought, Jamie came on for me to mentor him. And I started creating a video with him each week. And then 2, in that diary / results series. And I had like drive and focus and so as I got closer to the end of the weight loss journey, I mean, I didn't know, and I said this on a lot of the later videos, I don't know what my goal weight is yet. I just know it's somewhere in the 160s and stuff like that. So as I got closer, I picked a number, and I said that's what I'm going for. But one thing I didn't really do is I didn't plan for like necessarily the follow-up of what I would do. I planned the series to get, to do the diary, but then I didn't, I thought I was going to do like living the keto life, just a, weekly video, and some things came up. And so long story short, it just kind of like things died off real quick, and I was doing Jamie's video, and I was trying to do another video here and there, and then Keto Palooza came up, and that's where I actually met Cindy on here at Keto Palooza, and it was very nice meeting you, by the way. I was actually struggling then, and one thing is that I kind of sabotaged myself, because I'd said that after I got done with the weight loss, I would do exercise. And I did. The problem of it is that I chose to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and do the exercise. It was actually probably more like 4:40 exercise. And then, my kid, I get my kids up at like 6 o'clock to go to school. And the reason I did that is because, I didn't want to take away evening time from my family. So, it actually come back to bite me, because I was just getting exhausted. I didn't feel like doing anything else other than just like exist. So I kept myself for about 5 or 6 weeks, in that grind of getting up and doing that exercise, and again, feeling starved. And then I started to feel like, oh no, I'm not doing enough videos. Oh no, I'm not talking to my subscribers enough. Oh no. And then there's other things too. There's work things that were going on. I was on a new contract. There was, my wife, we thought it was related to menopause, but it turns out it was like COVID symptoms. So she had like severe vertigo and all kinds of like stuff. So we went through that, and that was actually kind of what broke my cycle and spun me out of it, believe it or not, because when that happened to her that morning, I was like, well, no way I'm working out. I got to take care of my wife. So, and then the same thing with the next day. Well, I just made it up on the weekend. And then I just thought to myself, why am I killing myself getting up every morning and doing this when I can carve out 30 minutes right at the end of the workday or 30 minutes in the evening. I worked out actually at 5:45, just about an hour and a half, before doing this. So it's like, I started being a little easier on myself. And as I got through the busy time and stuff like that, things got a little bit more clear. And then I was like, you know what? I'd really like to come on and do, live things like this, weekly, and that would, help me stay connected with you folks. But anyway, how I overcame it, obviously, is I adjusted my schedule. I didn't get down on myself because, I was, I was really like thinking I was like falling apart. I was really thinking it was like, this is it. What I didn't want to happen was I didn't want to get to the end of, I didn't want to fall off the wagon and then look back and go, oh, that was right there. If I'd have just caught myself right there, I could have done it. Well, I feel like I caught myself and said, okay, Chris, you're not going to be a third time ketoer. You're just going to forgive yourself and then just get back into it. Like this 170 number here that I saw, that would have freaked me out maybe, 5 or 6 weeks ago. Doesn't really faze me now. I know that, what I'm doing is living the keto life. So any questions from, that was a really good question, Cindy, and thanks for asking. I do feel like mentally the last couple of days, I've been like right on it. So it just feels really, 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 really good to be over that little hump. It was a big hump, but and then going to Ketopalooza, I had all that going on at the same time, and I kept telling myself, just go to Ketopalooza, come back, things will be better. Well, that's the week my wife had, had that all that stuff going on. So it was, when I got back, I should say. So, any other topics or questions? I like what you said, Cindy. Self-forgiveness is, really important. So I think a lot of times we can be really hard on ourselves if we, if you, like I said, I gave myself all these, things to do to make myself accountable. But what I didn't do is give myself a little bit of leeway. Now, during the weight loss journey, I was flexible. If I ate 24 carbs one day, even though I had a 20 goal, I was okay with that. I think it was just the sum of things that was kind of weighing down on me that did that. So, all right, any other topics? So I think Cindy said, I've been trying to go to your beginning videos and watch through. Do you have them in playlist? Yeah, I have playlists. I have what's called the diary series. Here's the question that, Cindy was asking me. I do have them in playlists. They're segmented by diary series, results series, and mentor series. And there's a few others out there as well. But the diary series is the one that's like really involved. It has, I create very deliberate B-roll. That's that, action scene where it just kind of says, this is what you ate all day and what I did all day. My first envision of that was pretty grandiose. It's actually pretty scaled back, honestly. So if you need any guidance to find that, just pop it, comment on the channel, and I'll send you a direct link to actually, I could probably just get that real quick for you here. Let me do. Please don't start playing. How your videos automatically start playing when you land on the channel. Playlists and I think it launched I want to get the link for this. And I don't know. Probably not the time to try to go find this. I want to get, here's the playlist. All right. it should be right there. And again, I have like plenty of them out there, but I don't know if, yeah, maybe they're not as well organized as I thought they were. Does anyone else have any other topics, comments, questions? You're very welcome. I think here, go look for some topics here. So I want to point out that next week is going to be a holiday planning, is the topic that I want to cover. I know that Jamie is the guy I mentor on the channel here. He has like already planned out some things. I've been through, let's see, probably 2.5, 3 years of holidays. So it's not as scary as for me to say, oh yeah, you got to get through, you got to get through, let me get this comment off here so Cindy doesn't have to see her name the whole time. But it's not as scary as for me, because when I went into Thanksgiving or Easter or Christmas, all these, big dinners and stuff, I would always make sure that I had, certain food. And probably the biggest thing that you can do to support yourself, and we'll talk about this, is make sure that people are all in alignment with that. I mean, my wife already knows that, these are my green beans. Anyone can eat as much as they want, but, I make them without certain things so that I don't have to worry about, them not being keto, deviled eggs and so on and so forth. There's definitely plenty. Sorry, I lost my train of thought looking down at the screen here. But there's plenty of food that you can make sure that you have available. And, if anyone watching my channel, they know I'm not one of those keto snackers, because I did that the first time I went into keto, and it kind of sabotaged me a lot. It took me a very, very long time to get to where I needed, where I wanted to go. And still, I never even got close to where I am right now. So maybe that's a good thing we can talk about, as far as, as a particular, particular topic, because I get asked a lot of times, like, when you say you're a second time keto, what does that really look like? So for me, I started keto back in 2017, you could arguably say the 90s, because in the late 90s, I did Atkins at one point, and it was very successful, but, it was not as well, there's not as much, it wasn't as much plentiful information as there is today, right? I mean, we could literally grab a rock and hit somebody that's probably tried a low carb something, at one point. So in 2017, 18, a buddy of mine, named Eric, that I worked with, said, hey, have you tried keto? And I was like, I've heard of ketosis, because I used to do Atkins. So I mean, ketones weren't like new to me. And he said, well, you need to check out, this person. That was Dr. Barry at the time. So I started looking at, like what it was. Of course, I couldn't Google enough to find things, but I was fascinated more probably by the fact that my buddy Eric, if you looked at him, you would think, why are you doing keto? Because the first thing we think of is weight loss, right? And that is probably a selfish thing that a lot of us are like, yeah, I want to get this weight off. But the reality of it is that there's just like a whole bunch of other benefit that comes along with, doing a keto-based, lifestyle. So I mean, we know it. I mean, just the mental clarity, the help with, as I stumble my thoughts, energy and sleeping, and just like about 10 or 2, I'm sure they'll all come to me as I'm not trying to look directly at a camera and come up with something. But anyway, the point I was trying to make about Eric is that he's like thin, and I was like, well, why are you doing keto? And he was like, Chris, I get these really bad migraines, I don't have energy, and he probably listed off like 5 or 6 other things that I can't remember at the time. And for him, he's kind of like, I would say about an 80 to 90% ketoer. So he's like what I would say like on the keto spectrum, but he's not like full throttle kind of guy. Nonetheless, I jumped in and, started like consuming anything and everything that I could find on the internet with regards to, learning about keto. And, eventually I stumbled across, Dr. Boz and so forth. But for the most part, I did what's called a road trip. I was just kind of doing things, and if it had keto on it, I was doing it. And that's what I meant about sabotaging myself. I was doing like fat bombs and, all these other things. But what I didn't realize at the time is that, I had really bad insulin resistance, and, the reason it was taking so long is because, I would just keep hammering my body, with eating and fake sugars and stuff. And you can do that, but it definitely fits into a particular part of your journey. Like for me, the holidays are when I'm going to have like a cheesecake or something like that. I know if I do it outside of that context, I'll be really susceptible to it. And that's just me. Not everybody's in that. But ultimately, I went through Dr. Boz's pilot consistently keto course in 2020 and did really well. I think I dropped below 200, maybe about 190. It was about the lowest I got. And that took about 2.5 years. And again, has some good benefits otherwise. And in like 2021, I just fell off the rails. I kind of remember like when it was, we were at a company, company getaway, and there was dessert, and I was like, I'll just have this, one dessert, and eat a little bit more carbs, and I didn't gain anything. I was like, oh, okay, well, I started to do that more and more and more, and before you know it, over 6 or 8 months, I was, back, to around the 235 to 240s range, which seemed to be my set point at that point in my life. So this time when I went into keto, I was very deliberate and said, I'm going to follow these rules, and, I shouldn't call them rules, but, this is the way I want to do it. I want to do, I want to have focus and so forth. And that's what's guided me and driven me on this particular time of keto. But I want to be like, Cindy, you'll remember this, and Jamie, you'll remember this because you both were at Keto Palooza, but we're the 2 crazy ketos were talking about how they don't look at their cupboard or their food anymore as their keto food versus their regular food. I'm loving everything that Cindy's posting in here. She's talking about like a crustless cheesecake and super very low. My wife does a fantastic job making this cheesecake out of a pecan butter crust. And then all we do is sub out that sugar for the monk fruit, and pretty much everything else just about falls right in line with where you need it to be. We don't, most of the recipes that my wife and I make that we do in the house is, some flavor of keto, which I think that is what makes it easier this time because, I'm like, I don't have to worry about like, this, I don't want to call it sabotage, but it's so easy to do, right? You can easily derail yourself by, falling back into old ways. Some people can do it and some people can't. I'm going to just use my brother as an example. I have an identical twin brother who likes to do, keto-ish, most of the time, but then he just has like these like day and a half, 2-day cheat days. But boy, he goes right back on it. And he's been able to do like that kind of carb cycling for almost 20 years. He can do it. I'm the same genetics as him. I can't do it. So we all have to just do what's good for us. And I know that come this holiday and for a couple meals afterwards, I'll have these little itty bitty cheesecakes, and stuff, and that's good for me. But I love like what I eat right now. I just absolutely just, I don't like crave food, but when I get it, I'm good with it, and I don't have to worry about, like, you know what I mean, like the complexity of it anymore. We got so many recipes, that we have that we like to follow and stuff, like the salmon recipe that we made, for tonight. That's absolutely one of my favorite. It doesn't take any time to make. Matter of fact, if you want to watch something kind of crazy, look at my wig life video where I introduced that recipe, which, by the way, is just my way of, my wife didn't want to go on the channel, so my daughter told me, dress up like mommy and put on a wig, so I did. So it was just more to have fun, not to be, insane. So, but I'm really enjoying where I'm at, with keto now. Let me see where you guys are got a little comment going on back and forth here. Anyone got any other, comments or questions? So actually we're getting down to, we're only 20 minutes from the hour mark, so we don't have to go to the hour, but I want to just make sure I've got any questions answered from you all. I do want to do a shout out here to Cindy specifically. I already had these little banners made ready to, talk about you a little bit here. So, in the upcoming weeks, I want to do, I'm going to talk about holiday planning, but, we're going to also start to bring guests on. And Cindy is someone that, I really enjoyed meeting down at Keto Palooza. So we were talking, and I sent her an email and said, would you like to, I see you do live streams, I'm going to start live streams, maybe, we could collaborate. And she said, yeah. So I want to get, her on the channel and scheduled. So you'll see at some point, a thumbnail show up under my live section saying, hey, Cindy's going to be on the channel. And then, she said that also I could come on her channel, but I wanted to take a second and just kind of promote her and her channel for just a moment. What I love about her channel, and it's something that I'm not really good at, but boy, she's got this meal plan. I mean, all the meal planning that you do, Cindy, is just amazing. You basically show the haul that you bring, right? Like you go to the store and this is what you got, and then, at some point I might start doing that stuff, but I got a lot going on right now, but wow. So she'll show you that, folks. She's got, she shows you how to, make food in bulk and prep and, the whole 9 yards and stuff. So it's really good. So I want to encourage you to, go check out her channel, subscribe to her channel. We're small content creators, so we're also trying to support each other, but more importantly, trying to, get us all working together, asking, answering questions, sharing things that work. There's little, I don't want to call them tips or tricks and stuff, but there's just so much that you can learn from, like-minded people, and Cindy is, right there. I think you'll really enjoy, taking a look at her channel. So, other things that, I'm going to try to do in upcoming videos, and this is over time. This is not like next week. This could be 3 months from now, 2 weeks from now, 5 months from now. I wouldn't mind doing some product reviews. So if you have any ideas of something that you think is, the bee's knees or whatever, and you're like, hey, Chris, I heard this is, something really good on keto. I'll go do some research on it. I like to do that type of stuff. Maybe I'll try it for a week or two and just see what happens with it. Any tools or, recipes, I call it anything is a tool, right? I mean, if you get your phone and you bring up like chronometer, to me, that's a tool. If that helps you, be successful, then it's a tool that can help you. So we can do discussions around that. I have a lot of opinions on technology because I'm a technologist. So, in recipes, I'm already seeing in the comments here going back and forth, you guys talking about like, recipes, and, Maria Emmerich is says recipes and stuff that we saw in her book at Keto Palooza. She's got some really solid stuff. My wife was looking at that, and she was really impressed with it. So there's, this is my first live one, so I'm cutting my teeth on not a lot tonight, but I'm hoping that as I start to pick different topics and have different guests on, that this grows. It was really good having you guys stop by the channel today and ask questions and so forth. Anything else before we wrap it up tonight? You're very welcome, Cindy. See, that's why I put the background music. Oh, somebody. Oh, I'd be more than happy to share what I'm using for my live. I'm using actually StreamYard. So, and how I got turned on to StreamYard is when we were at Keto Palooza, I met Lisa Albright. She's the one that she was down there with us and hung out with Jamie and I. She introduced me to the guys at Keto Cookout Live, and those three folks that do that actually have their own separate respective channels, and so let me put this out here. That's what we use also. Oh, good. Yeah. Boy, StreamYard is just fascinatingly easy. Although, depending on what you want to do, and like if you want to offer like guest streams and all that, you could get caught up in buying in their separate plan. What responded it's a product called StreamYard. So any of you folks, if you want to do live streams, it doesn't have to be for keto and on your YouTube channel. I can simultaneously broadcast to multiple platforms at one time. So when I was a guest on the Keto Cookout Live, I streamed theirs back to my channel, and that's why you see a video under my live section now for that. So I just absolutely love it. I think it's just a really good thing. I just made some of my own overlays and things like that, just to kind of make it look a little bit as professional as I could make it. But yeah, it's a really good product. Anyone got anything this week that they found just like the super cool with keto, that they just want to share? It's crickets. I'm kidding. All right, well, we are just about done. So I want to get my closing sheet here, because I try to be organized. I'm not always as organized as I'd like to be, but I just want to kind of like wrap it up in a more formal way. Hopefully you're okay if I put this on. Yeah. So what Cindy's saying to me is that once we agree on a date, send me a pic and a thumbnail. This is kind of what you do whenever you have, you're trying to, set up guest spots. And that's kind of exactly what happened when I did the Keto Cookout Live. They sent me this and a picture and all that. That way Cindy can import me and put me on her site and vice versa. So you'll see that. Thank you very much, Cindy. I'm just really excited to, be a guest on your channel, and hopefully we can continue to grow together and stuff like that. So all right, well, as we wrap up, I just want to, if there's anybody new watching this, please take time to like and subscribe so you can keto with me. Also, if you didn't get any questions or comments answered today, don't hesitate to leave them down in the comments below, or if you want, send me off an email like I said. Just remember, be a coach, not a critic. So that's my normal sign off. All right. It takes a couple of clicks to get out of here. So, all right. We'll see you later, folks.